Question 8 here is another limit problem, except this time instead of giving us a graph to work from, they're giving us an equation to work with. So this problem is saying it wants to know the limit as x approaches -3, and that's the overall limit because there's no plus or minus in that exponent there, of x squared minus 9 over x plus 3. Whenever I have a limit problem like this that uses an equation, I sort of go through two options. Option one is I just take the equation that they give me here, and I would just plug this equation into y1 on my calculator. From there, I would graph that equation, and I would hit second, calc, and then I would choose number one in that menu option, which is value. And from there, I would just plug in the x value that they care about, which in this situation would have been -3. So I'll plug in -3, and whatever y comes up with at that point, that would be my answer if option 1 works. So open up my calculator, go into my y equals. On the newer calculators, when you're dealing with fractions, it has a pretty cool button. If you hit this alpha button, the green button there on the left, and then the y equals button, it'll pull up this menu for you, and if you choose number 1 there, n divided by d, numerator over denominator, that'll split it up into a fraction for you, and so then you can just enter it in nice and cleanly and not have to worry about all the extra parentheses that you used to have to worry about on the older TI-83s and 84s. If you don't happen to have that functionality though, all you want to do to enter it in is just remind yourself that it's always the whole top in a set of parentheses, so x squared minus 9, and then close that parentheses, divided by the whole bottom in a set of parentheses. So you'd open another parentheses and close it at the very end. Since I only need one of these to graph, I'll go ahead and scroll over and turn one of them off, and now I'll just graph this first one. And so from there, we see our graph come through the window, and we'll do that process I noted. I said hit second, calc, and then you want to choose number 1 in that menu option, which is going to be value. And the x value we care about is -3. So we type in -3 and hit enter. And what we see is our calculator is telling us that y equals blank. So out of our calculator, we got a blank right now. Well, that doesn't tell us anything except that option 1 failed. So at this point, what we have to do is head over to try option 2 since option 1 failed. And option 2 is really working with the idea of an overall limit and answering the question, does the left-hand limit equal the right-hand limit? So if the answer to that question is yes, then the overall is the same. And if the answer to that question is no, that's fine, then the overall does not exist, DNE. So to test this on our calculator, again, this will just be another calculator method. What we'll do is we'll calculate out a left-hand limit. And so this time when I go back into my calculator, I'm going to calc a value again, but I'm going to choose a number really, really close to -3 from the left. So if we think about -3 on a number line here, I'm choosing something really close to -3 from the left because I'm coming in from that left-hand direction. So I would choose something like -3.00001. So we'll try plugging in -3.00001. Really, the number doesn't matter, just make it a bunch. So I hit second and then calc again and choose number 1 in that menu, value, and this time I'm going to type -3 point, and like I said, it's just a whole bunch of zeros. There's no real exact science to that number, and hit enter. And I can see that I actually get a y value out in this situation of -6. And so I know from the left-hand side it's saying that y equals -6, so that's my left-hand limit. And now I just play the same game doing a right-hand limit. So as I approach -3 from the right here, so I'm looking at something like 2.999999. So we'll do our calc value process. And in this situation, we're going to do it at x equals -2.99999. Whole bunch of 9s again, how many ever you want, just do a bunch. And we'll see if our y equals the same thing that we got for our left-hand limit. So opening up the calculator, hit second calc, and then number 1 value, and then from the right-hand side we do -2.9999999, and hit enter. And again, you can see that our calculator comes out with y equals -6. So our right-hand limit is also -6. Well, our left-hand limit and our right-hand limit were equal to each other, and then that tells us that our overall limit would equal the exact same value, -6. So our answer here would be C.